Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Amata. Today is still the 22nd of January, and I have some rather interesting comments regarding Nintendo from a former Nintendo executive by the name of Dan Adelman. And he has provided some rather frank insight into the Nintendo's early workings. Now, just to kind of get this out of the way, Dan Adelman actually left the company in August of last year, and he was actually one of their most important developer liaisons. Now, one of the first things he did say was that Nintendo had issued a gag order on his social media use, and shortly after called the Wii U's name abysmal. Now, that hasn't stopped him being rather outspoken and entertaining since, and he recently conducted an interview with Drumble and gave some very interesting comments regarding why Nintendo is so slow to embrace new ideas and practices in comparison to other companies. And he said, quote, "They're very traditional and very focused on hierarchy and group decision making. Unfortunately, that creates a culture where everyone is an advisor and no one is a decision maker, but almost everyone has veto power. Even Mr. Iwata is often loath to make a decision that will alienate one of the executives in Japan." And he went on to say that getting anything done involves a great deal of groundwork bringing different groups on board, and is even harder for anyone outside of Japan because, well, then the whole process has to be repeated at multiple levels. And he added, quote, "All of this is not necessarily a bad thing, though it can be very inefficient and time-consuming. The biggest risk is that any step in the process, if someone flat out says no, the proposal is good as dead. So, in general, bolder ideas don't get through the process unless they originate at the top. The most senior executives at the company cut their teeth during NES and Super NES days and do not really understand modern gaming. So adopting things like online gaming, account system, friends list, as well as understanding the rise of PC gaming has been very slow. Ideas often get shut down prematurely just because some people with the power to veto an idea simply don't understand. There's very little reason to try and push these ideas. Risk-taking is generally not rewarded. Long-term loyalty is ultimately what gets rewarded, so the easiest path is simply to stay the course." Now, the full interview is very interesting reading, and you should definitely give it a read if you're curious about what else he had to say, and also put his comments in the full context of the interview. I, of course, have outlined the context for you here and discussed the key points, but if you want to give the whole thing a read, it's in the description below this video. I suggest you do so. It is very interesting indeed. Now, I can kind of see where they're trying to go. They're trying to have a company that everyone can have their say, but obviously that has major downsides that Dan discussed here. It being the case of new ideas not making it through simply because some person who doesn't understand, because they're quite old-fashioned with how they think about game development or whatever, doesn't understand it. That's a real shame, because maybe there are creative ideas at Nintendo, but they get pushed aside because, well, someone at the top just says no because they don't get it. Obviously, unless someone really, really high up has the idea, it's not going to come through, which, of course, is not amazing for creativity or making new IP. And making new IP is one of the things that I've criticised Nintendo for as well. They don't really do it that much. They tend to stick to their well-known franchises, which a lot of companies do, and that's fine, but there should be some new ideas, some freshness breathed into it as well. I love Nintendo, I love their games. I've got the 3DS, I've got many games on my 3DS as well as my DS, and I'm going to be picking up a Wii U now that there's some good games coming out for it, but they definitely need some fresh ideas. So this is a system that, well, probably needs to be rehashed, if not completely thrown out the window or kicked down a flight of stairs, but that's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. Still, I suggest you either read the full interview or don't, or either way, give me your opinions on anything I've discussed here, and I'll see you next time.